I'm used to people getting upset with me when I say no, like when I don't do something, or if I'm like, I can't do that plan, or like I don't want to eat that food, or like I'm saying no to something. I am saying no to myself a million times a day. There are so many things that I don't want to do that I'm like, Matt, do it. Matt, you have to. Matt, like, don't be annoying. Like, you can't say no to everything. You can't live a life that's perfectly accommodating to you. You can't have friends and also live life comfortably for you, or like be completely authentic in yourself. And when someone like makes a fuss that like you're not going to this party, I'm like, yeah, dude, you don't know how close I am to a meltdown. Do you know what a meltdown is? A meltdown is when I have betrayed myself so much that I can't do it anymore. That my body and my mind break down and say, stop. We will not let you hurt yourself anymore. You have to stop. That's how close I am, and that's why I can't go. And please don't get mad at me that makes you uncomfortable today, because everything has made me uncomfortable today, and I can't complain about it. Because that's my disability, I guess, and that's just what life is to me, and that's something that people don't see.
When it comes to saying yes to things you want to say no about, I'm the best person to give you advice about this, because until very close time, I was the type of person that wants to keep the peace, that wants to say to everybody like, no problem, I'm here for you, no worries, whenever you need me you will find me. It is okay, we can leave one another for a certain extended period of time, but when you call me you will find me. Until I said no, because that behavior got me to the fact that I have a lot of people in my life only calling me when they need something. I've had lots of relationships where that guy only call me when he thinks he can get me, or when he thinks he can get something from me, no matter what it is. I've had friendships where she only contacts me when she needs something out of me, or when it's convenient for her. But when I learned not to keep the peace, when I learned to say no, that gave me confidence. Because yes, it is a yes to yourself when you say no to people, or no to things that is not aligning with you. And it's a no, a big no to yourself when you say yes to things that is not aligning with you. And there is nothing that is more harsh than saying yes when you don't really want to go, when you don't really want to involve yourself or waste your time with people that you don't want in your life. That is not called self-love. You're literally abandoning yourself. It is simple word. It is a simple word, right? It is N-O. But a lot of us overcomplicate it because we feel guilty about other people's emotions, or how they're gonna feel, or maybe we're gonna lose these people. But who cares? Yes, if we're gonna lose these people, at least we have ourselves, right? At least we will not stay with our emotions, with the aftermath of the emotions after we say yes to things that is not aligning with us. So let's talk about it.
People who have a hard time saying no to situations, places, or things that don't almost resonate with them is not just because they're weak, just because they're pushovers. On a psychological reasoning, the reason why these people have a very hard time saying no is because they've been conditioned to believe that setting boundaries equates to rejection or some type of conflict. So think about it like this. When a person has a hard time saying no, even if they want to say no, their psyche believes that in order for me to survive the situation, I have to almost neglect myself and I have to please you just so we can keep the peace. But here's the thing, when a person has a hard time setting boundaries and saying no, what you're demonstrating to the person in front of you or whoever you're engaging with is that you don't have solid ground under your feet. And it sounds harsh, but it's not coming from a harsh place. When you can't say no when you want to say no, there's something within yourself that you don't fully trust. Because you don't trust it so much, you can abandon it You can reject it and then go and serve the people in front of you. And that's why saying no in moments is so important, you guys. And I know it's so hard for a lot of people who fall into the people pleasing personality, but here, this is the best way to try it. If it's hard for you to say no in big situations, start off in small areas. For example, if you're at a coffee shop, you know, the person that gave you your drink, your barista gave you a drink, it wasn't the right drink, tell them, you know, this wasn't right, I don't like this. This is a form of setting a boundary. This is a form of saying no to something that isn't serving you. People think that just saying no is the thing. When something is not resonating with you, you speak up a little bit about it, and you kind of rectify it. That's your way of saying no to whatever is being given to you, what's being expressed to you.
The reason you feel guilty when you say no is because as a child, you were taught that saying no was selfish and that making everybody around you happy was your responsibility. And I'm here to tell you that that's complete bullshit. Every time you say yes when you mean no, you are abandoning yourself and your own needs. And the problem with this is that it's making you sick.
So how can someone get out of the trap of people pleasing?
The difficulty is not necessarily just with the word no, it's with all the feelings that come with it, right? And it's that sense of, I am somehow responsible for how they feel. And if they feel disappointment, that's my fault. It's the feeling of guilt that feels intolerable. And as soon as you're willing to accept that guilt, welcome it, acknowledge it, and take it with you, then it can't hold you back. It's only if you're unwilling to feel that sense of guilt that it becomes too difficult to say no or to hold a boundary. If you have clarity on your values, so you understand why you're going to say no at this point or why you're going to hold a boundary, then it's much easier to acknowledge that I'm going to feel guilty about it. But that guilt doesn't necessarily mean that it's wrong to hold this boundary.
Right.
That guilt might be an echo of the past where
Yes.
maybe I grew up in a home where, you know, I was taught that if I said no or I put myself first, that I got punished for it. Maybe everything that happened, you know, in childhood or your early years is still a part of the equation today,
Yes.
but might be unhelpful.
Yeah.
So if you can see that guilt as, okay, this is an echo of my past, but it's not necessarily relevant to how I want to live now. If you're willing to look at the feeling with curiosity, then you can decipher whether it's warranted in this moment.
I do this thing where I feel really guilty saying no to someone, even though I don't want to hang out with them or I'm just really exhausted. And I used to think, oh, you know, that just means that I'm really nice. You know, I always say yes to people. And it's like, no, that's what people pleasing is. And what I've learned about it is that it's not even that you do it now. You do it now because you used to do it when you were younger. When you grow up in this environment where you needed to keep the peace, either to prevent people from yelling at you, getting in trouble, just making things so complicated, you decided, I'm just going to do what everyone wants me to do so that I don't get yelled at, I don't get in trouble. And the longer you do that, the more ingrained it becomes in your system. So that now, even when you're an adult, you're like, I'm just going to do what makes everyone happy because that'll just create less problems. And now that I know this, I think about it and I'm like, I am not responsible for anyone else's emotions. If they're going to get mad at me for me saying no, that is on them. I don't have to. I'm not responsible for everyone else's emotions, and I just have to keep remembering that.
Why can't I say? That's right, saying no is empowering, but it can be one of the hardest things for a lot of people to do. So let's tackle the challenges, which are the reasons why people typically say no, and then we're going to get into some tips. So, reasons why people usually say no. First, people pleasing. It's the urge to make everybody else happy, which is going to lead to overcommitment. You're going to burn yourself out. And remember, you don't have to be everybody's go-to. Fear of rejection is next. Worrying that somebody or saying no is going to lead to some type of conflict or you're going to lose friends over it. But your true friends are going to respect your boundaries. Overthinking, that was my big one that was so hard for me to get over. Analyzing every single angle is going to paralyze you. Keep it simple. Remember, your time is valuable. Guilt trips, specifically guilt tripping yourself, feeling guilty for saying no. That's such a weight that you're putting on yourself, and you just need to remember that your needs matter just as anybody else's does. Social pressure is next, which is feeling obligated to fit in, and that's going to make you push yourself to say yes even when you don't want to. How about breaking the mold instead? Now let's get into tips for saying no. Practicing assertiveness. Use I statements. I cannot take this on right now. Next, be honest. Share your reasons briefly, but do not over-explain. I need to focus on my mental health. And stopping there. Eventually, you'll build up where you'll just say no, people will respect it, and you won't feel the need to over explain, and that's totally fine. Role playing, don't laugh, but this works. Practice with a friend or get in front of a mirror. The more you rehearse this, the easier it's going to be for you. Next, have a backup plan, like just what is your go-to reasoning or excuse, if you want to call it that, right? Just in case you feel really pressured in the moment. Next, reflecting on your values, remind yourself why saying no is important for your well-being. Because remember, if you're saying no to somebody else, you're saying yes to you. If you're saying yes to them when you want to say no, you're saying no to yourself. Saying no is not selfish, it's necessary at times. Your time, your mental health, everything deserves as much respect as anybody else's does. So thank you for tuning in and watching this. If there was something in this video that resonated with you, don't forget to like, share, and follow for more insights. And when you're really ready to dive deep, reach out for a personalized coaching plan and definitely go check out my other resources. The link is in the bio.
When you don't know how to say no, your body will say it for you, from some kind of illness. And most chronic illnesses, autoimmune diseases and malignancies, most, I say not all, I don't say they're caused by, but they have a huge contribution to their onset by people's difficulty saying no and taking on too much stress. Because stress, when you take on too much, stress isn't just a psychological event. It affects your physiology. By definition, it's a physiological event. So it's not a big mystery about how not saying no would lead to illness. So the exercise has to do with where in my life have I trouble saying no? In other words, where there's a no that wants to be said, but you don't say it. And that usually shows up in two areas. One is in personal life, the other is in work.
Oh my God, okay, I asked my therapist why I can't say no without feeling bad, and she goes, somewhere along the way, you learned that being agreeable made things easier. And I was like, that tracks. I don't know exactly when it happened, but like, I picked up this idea that saying no was risky, that having needs made me difficult, that like being easy meant that I would be loved. So I got used to being the quiet one, the one who would never push back, the one who just like went along with things. And then when I did speak up, it didn't always go so well. So then I stopped. Like I just stopped speaking up altogether. It wasn't kindness, which is I think what I thought I was doing at the time, but it was actually just survival. And now I catch myself saying yes when I'm already overwhelmed, when I don't want to say yes, feeling guilty for resting, apologizing for taking up space. Like literally for the longest, I thought that was just like who I was. But therapy has been showing me that it's not. It's this like younger version of me still trying to stay safe. And that's so sad. I'm learning that like healing isn't about becoming somebody new. It's about becoming who I could have been if I had known that no was okay. That no didn't mean rejection. That no didn't make me unlovable. You can't undo years of people pleasing overnight, but you can start showing up for that inner kid. Like you can learn to reparent them. You can teach your inner child that boundaries don't end love. They actually make it feel.
When you're having a hard time saying no because you feel like you don't have a good enough reason. You feel like, oh, I have the time, I have the space, I have the means, I have the resources, and so I don't have a good reason to say no because you were taught that you have to justify your no. That if I refuse something, I have to defend what I refuse. No. You can absolutely say no because you don't feel like it. Because in my nervous system, something about my spirit, it doesn't feel right. Or because I don't want to. You're going to have to unlearn the idea that I have to give you all of these reasons as to why I cannot do something or will not do something. You're allowed to say no just because you can. And it's complete. And that's enough. All right. I'm glad we had this talk.
The thing I learned as a former lawyer is the art of saying no. Unless you learn how to clearly say no as a boundary, you open the door for your no to be negotiated. Here's how to say no without shrinking. 1, you're direct. You don't need to over-justify it. For example, no, unfortunately, that doesn't work with me. Period. That's it. The case is closed. Keep your tone calm. Your power is in your delivery. You don't need to be overly defensive. You don't need to be overly antsy or overly anxious. No, unfortunately, I can't. Easy peasy. And 3, do not be apologetic. You don't need to open up the door for guilt. Saying no to something you don't want to do is not rejecting them. It's just you being true to yourself. There is nothing to apologize about that. Overall, the moment that you start saying no and standing on it, you start reclaiming your boundaries, your self-respect, your energy, and you start opening up the doors to things that you actually want to say yes to. So say no firmly and stand on it. And if you need a reminder, save this video and come back to it. And if you like this advice, follow for more.
Let's normalize saying no with no explanation. The next time someone asks you if you want to do something that you don't feel like doing or don't have mental capacity for, just simply say no. Don't add no but, nothing, no nothing, just simply no. Because quite frankly, you don't owe anyone an explanation. If you say no, no means no. That's it. End of the story.
I had to realize that a part of my fear of abandonment stemmed from all those times that I abandoned myself just to get someone else to stay in my life. Because when you constantly belittle yourself, make yourself small, settle for things you don't really want just to get someone else to stay, you're quite literally abandoning yourself and reinforcing this idea that you're not worth staying for because you do it to yourself. So you literally cause your own scars. And once you realize that you're doing the damage more so than they are, it shifts your whole perspective. Like, wow, by me trying to get you to see that I'm worth staying for, I'm abandoning my values, I'm settling for things that I'm really not okay with, I'm making myself feel small, all in the name of getting you to stay, but I've completely lost myself in the process. And you don't realize that that is one of the roots in you not feeling like you're someone worth staying for, because you left yourself to get someone else to stay. Do you see? I had to realize for myself, like, oh my goodness, the fear that I have is because I've done it to myself. And so of course I'm going to think someone else is going to do it because I've done it to myself. Once I realized that, I got to put me first. You literally have to put yourself first. You have to be your own healer. Like, I got to put me first, Lucius. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.